My name's Mr. Delay, and, well, this is my classroom. It's Thursday. That means class is in session.
Hey, listen!
I can stop.
Get nerdy with me.
Bring to Middle Earth, do you speak my language? Your elf ears don't need explaining.
Get nerdy with me.
You name all 12 of the dogs, I can't resist that. And what's the core in your wand? I think that ours match.
Talk nerdy to me. Talk nerdy to me.
My name's Mr. Delay, and welcome to my classroom. It's not the normal set. I'm on the other side of it. It's literally right over there, but I've decided I'm going to switch things around every so often and do things from a different part of the room. This is my class, and today is kind of a catch-up day. I read you the story on the last vlog, and today I promised that I would share with you what I wrote, but I also wanted to kind of talk a little bit more about the characters in the story so that we can kind of explore that a little bit and dig in beyond just the stuff. And this week is a little light because it's only the 4 days, and I didn't want to overwhelm you with a lot of literary analysis and things because we started on Tuesday and we'll be done on Friday, and I wanted you to kind of have a lighter week for the lighter work for the lighter week, if that makes any sense. Next week we'll pick back up, we have another story ready to roll, and we have some literary analysis, but for this week, my goal is to kind of get us to dig in to the story and the characters of 7th grade by Gary Soto. But first, I told you that I would read you what I wrote about the prompt that we did, and that prompt was to look outside and look at describe 5 things, or look outside, write about 5 things you see, and I expanded to say and write about them and share about them. So that's what I'm going to do. I see the cold remains of the day as the snow begins to fade away under the gaze of the bright sun just peeking into the morning from the horizon. I see empty sidewalks, bereft of people and the community we once had, bustling from place to place. Greetings have faded from the view I see from my window, replaced by furtive glances of panic that they might violate the social distancing rule, or that they might pick up a lingering virus in the air. I see an empty street and an empty town, but yet still a beating heart, and still it has hope for tomorrow. And yeah, I enjoyed it. Tea helps in the morning when you're trying to wake up. Good tea with like a little bit of milk and a little bit of sugar. This makes the world a better place. Okay, next. Okay, so we missed out on some musical artists last week, which I feel really bad about, and I feel like we should continue that theme. As we continue to get back into regular vlogs this week and the next, I'll talk about musical artists every day. So we missed out on some musical artists last week, and my goal here this week is that we can kind of catch up on that as we get back into regular vlogs. I'll do more musical artists every day. So catching up from last week, one of them was Elvis Presley, who was known as the king of rock and roll. Michael Jackson was the king of pop. Elvis Presley was the king of rock and roll. And Elvis Presley was a legend, and he was taken from us too soon. A lot of that was drugs and just a lot of stuff that he wasn't taking care of himself with. And some say, the king still lives, but no, Elvis Presley died, and he was a legend. He was a voice of a generation, and he had something in him that just needed to be out. That voice, that sound, that rhythm was there. So Elvis Presley was one. And then the next one on, I think it was Thursday, was Fats Domino. Now, Fats Domino is another voice of a generation. Fats Domino is legit. And his song that I love is Blue Monday. And I'll put the lyrics down there for you, and you can listen to it. I would go on Spotify, listen to some Fats Domino. The man is incredible, was incredible. He is just good stuff. And I know it doesn't sound like the music today, but the music of today was influenced by the music of yesterday. And so that's why I talk about this a lot. I use artists that you may not have heard of, or you're like, oh, that's old. It's like, well, yeah, but I guarantee you there's at least 1 or 2 of the artists that you know today that you listen to who was influenced by Fats Domino or someone that I'm going to talk about. The next one is Duke Ellington, and his song is Take the A Train. But he has a lot more songs, and Duke Ellington is, again, a legend. Great music, great lyricist, great composer, and just all-around incredible artist. So give a listen to Duke Ellington. I'll put some links down there for you to check out. But those were the artists we missed out on last week. The Eagles is what I've been listening to today a little bit. And I know you're like, oh, that's my dad's music or my grandpa's music. Yes, but the Eagles have voice. No auto-tuning here. There is no auto-tuning on the Eagles. it is legit the Eagles' voices. Their voices are the real voices you're hearing. So give them a listen. I'll put some links to some music down there. Check it out. See what you think. Go from there. Lastly, the 7th Grade by Gary Soto is a multi-layered story. There's a lot going on there. There's a lot of characters. And the beautiful thing about Gary Soto's story is that everyone can identify with at least one of those people in that story. You might be Teresa, who has a boy that's trying to impress you. You might be Michael, who is scowling all the time and trying to impress girls with the scowl. I don't know what it actually looks like, but that's what I imagined the GQ look. It's like if you've ever seen the movie Zoolander, it's the smolder, or the look. Or in Tangled, the smolder. She broke my smolder. So it's that idea that, oh, I've got a smolder. I can, look at my, oh yes, look at me. And the reality of it is that when you're in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, for the most part, it doesn't work. It's kind of just you putting on, they call it putting on airs. You're putting on something that's not really, you haven't earned that yet. You shouldn't be trying to earn that yet. It's really just kind of like, why are you trying to be all like that? That's not who you are. It's not nothing like that. But again, Michael believes that, it works. And he says, well, hey, that girl's looking at me. And I think in the story, the girls that are looking at Michael, they're not looking at him because he's scowling and he's so hot, he's so cute. I think they're like, what is wrong with his face? Like, your face, Michael, what are you doing? Like, what is this whole, what? So I feel like that might be a part. That's me interpreting. Remember we talked about explicit versus implicit? So the explicit is he's scowling, he's trying to impress girls. But the implicit, the implication, the implying, the interpretation may be that those girls are looking at him and going, who are you? Like, I don't even think you're that good. Like, what? And so Michael's intention is this, but the reality that I'm interpreting what he's experiencing is he's not gonna get what he thinks he's gonna get. So that's my kind of thing about Michael. And then Victor. I think we've always been, I will freely admit, when I was in middle school and high school, I tried to be Victor. I tried to impress girls that I had a crush on. Like, it was like, oh, well, what can I do to make them like me? Like, what can I do to kind of be like, hey, look at me. Hey, notice me. But the reality of it is it's not all it's cracked up to be. I mean, sure, he got Teresa's attention. Yeah, they're gonna do study sessions and stuff, and maybe it will work out for Victor. Maybe it'll be fine. I highly doubt it, though. But we're going to go with the fairy tale ending, and our interpretation that I'm going to go with is that Victor and Teresa, they get to know each other. She discovers that he really doesn't know French, but she forgives him. She accepts him for his faults, and they go on to date for the rest of 7th grade and 8th grade, and then they have a torrential relationship experience in high school, and they may or may not continue their relationship and get married and whatever. Who knows? You're in charge of creating the ending for that story. So look at 7th grade and think about, well, how does this end? From what we know of Victor and what we know of Michael and what we know of Teresa, how does their stories end? How does Michael's story end? How does it end well, or do they break up like a week in? Or what do you think? Given what you've seen in the story and the evidence you're able to gather, what do you think? That might be a warm-up prompt for Monday that I might throw at you. Be like, hey, reflect on that story. Where do you think they ended up? So over the weekend, there you go. There's something to dig into. And then there's Mr. Bueller. Do you think, is he a good teacher? Is he a bad teacher? He's fascinating to me. I think we as teachers, a lot of times, we see a lot more than students think. And we hear a lot more than students think. And so we kind of sit back and we try not to get involved because that's your business. That's your thing that you're doing. And we're not here to be like, oh, whatever. But Mr. Bueller, I think he kind of just busied himself. He's like, oh, I've got something really important to work on right now. While, that was happening. And he allowed Victor to kind of stand on his own. And as teachers, we want our students to stand on their own. But I like Mr. Bueller as a character. His name is based off a movie, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which is a classic movie. So it's kind of cool. I think that I like that Gary Soto kind of referenced that, if that was his intent. I like 7th grade. I really like this short story. It is something that speaks to my experience, and I think it speaks to a lot of our experiences in the middle school life as well. My hope is that story kind of impacted you. I will have a free write Fun Friday tomorrow for you on the vlog. And I might be back in my studio, might be back sitting there, or I might just be here, kicking back, enjoying some good old tea from old England. with a spot of milk and a bit of sugar. I am not from England. I am from Norway. My family's a Norwegian. We go out in the sun and we burn. We might have been Vikings. We might have been like pillagers. I don't think we were pillagers. We were probably just like the guys who stayed home and like built and wrote stuff. I don't think the delays were the warring kind. We were just like we just want to hang out and keep house and build things and cook things and we were probably like homebodies is my guess, given what I know about myself. Who knows? Thousands of years removed from my ancestors, we could have been the great kings of Norway, and I don't even know it. There you go, Mr. Delay, the king of Norway. And on that note, I'll see you in the next one. My name is Mr. Delay. Stay safe, stay healthy, and know that you are loved. See you in the next one. Drink more tea. Yeah.